Hello, everyone. Oh gosh, my mind's gone blank now. Hello. You might have noticed there's someone sat to my right or left on the screen. Can't remember which one it is.
Just the other way.
We've got the royalty on, guys. We have got a guest. I did say that we would have a special guest last week, and we've got a very special one. Hello, Stuart from Miniature Relams.
Hello. I think you've oversold it a little bit there. There'll be people thinking, what? Who?
Royalty to us. Royalty to us. I know. Do you know what? I was waiting for your signature intro. That's what I was waiting for. I was like, oh no, it's ours. It's not yours. Is everyone all right? Liam, Jack?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Yes.
Jack, is your audio working?
Testing 1 2 1 2. Hopefully.
Amazing. Stuart, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Plodding along, painting miniatures, pretty much. That's it. And not even mine at the moment. So.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. We're just gonna have a hobby chat today. We thought we'd do something completely different because, as you know, us three normally spitball about tournaments, what we like, what we don't like, who we hate, what we don't hate. Mainly, we hate Liam because of how well he's doing at the minute. Get that in there now. But today we're going to do something completely different, and we're almost going to talk about you, really. No, we're going to talk about the hobby a bit. We're going to let you lead it because you're better at hobby than us. So, but yeah, we're going to let you read it. So, should we start? I'm going to give you the floor, Stuart, and let me just pop this up then, and then. This where we say next slide? Like there we go.
Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. So, Stuart, about yourself and what you do, mate.
Well, Miniature Realms was just a commission painting business. Now still is, but sort of grown a little bit over the years into YouTube as well. Started off just somewhere to do some videos on some historical miniatures, because at the time I was doing a podcast for Middle-earth. I couldn't really talk about little Napoleonic soldiers on there, so I decided to make a video, and then it just kind of grew from there. And then when Old World was announced, I promised myself I wouldn't go back to square bases, even though I knew I would, because it was always my first love. And I started doing loads of videos on that, and that's probably 50% of the content that I do on the channel now. I still cover other game systems as well, pretty much anything. And a lot of it's hobby and painting related because I'm a commission painter. So it's kind of grown. It's not my full-time job, but it definitely contributes to my business now. It's not just a hobby thing anymore. It's grown to that point. But YouTube's tough. You don't get rich doing it for sure. So I'm still painting other people's armies for most of my day job, but having loads of fun with it. To be honest with you, it's lovely making content, talking about games, and talking about hobby and painting and things, and engaging with people online most of the time. Yeah. Not always. Most of the time with it, it's good. It's good. Good fun.
I mean, I stick your stuff on while I'm doing my own hobby anyway. When I get time to do my own hobby, and find it quite engaging anyway. I think I said this about Matthew, one of the other guests we had on. I think sometimes I get quite engaged. Me personally, I get quite engaged with the ways people speak, and I find the way you talk the hobby, it keeps you engaged, if that makes sense. Where it's not, you haven't. Some people, I might really annoy people here, but some people have got very drony voices which make you fall asleep.
Is that always them? Sorry.
Yeah, mainly Jack. Yeah, to be fair. But no, I do obviously stick it on when I'm painting and stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that it's not too monotone.
Yeah, you look a little bit like Matt as well. Maybe I've got a thing.
No, I was a bit disappointed that I only found your Necrosphinx painted video after I'd tortured through mine. So
yes, that was quite a recent thing. It's not been that popular actually. So
I think it came out just after I'd painted mine. But it's a bit too high tech for me. It's got baby wipes and paintbrush guns and stuff, and contrast.
Yeah, lots of airbrushing and stuff. It's not mine, unfortunately. It was someone else's that I have to send off, and my Tomb King army remains mostly unpainted, sitting behind me on the shelves.
You were a lot more a lot better at painting all the little tiny red and blue bits and stuff, whereas mine is just like I picked up these AK Interactive pens and I've just scribbled a little bit on them to fill in the colours a bit around the edges. But yeah, yours looks a lot considerably better than mine. Which given that you're a commission painter, I'd hope so.
Yeah. I mean, it's thank you, but yeah, I've just been doing it for a long time, really. I'm focusing on painting for a long time, so you just kind of get better at it when it's your focus. Whereas I'm awful at playing the game, and that tells you everything you need to know about my focus quite often when it comes to playing games. I love writing lists. I really do, and really enjoy. Apart from Heresy at the moment, third edition's melting my brain because it's so different. But I love writing lists and really enjoy it. And I always write a list before I purchase an army. But it's not always kind of, the synergies aren't always there. I don't look at magic items in a book and go, oh, that will work with this and that, and that comes a lot later after I've lost a few games. But still enjoy it. But it's definitely painting first, then lore, and then the sort of the rule stuff. But I still enjoy it all.
That's the way to go, because it means you get a nice big army, because you have to keep buying things to get something that's good in the end.
Yes, yeah. I very much lose the game badly and go, well, what should I do? I realise it's not really my choices; it's me more than anything else. But never mind.
That's me. Though I'm the same. I'm not great at Warhammer. These two will tell you. But I've got, like I say, I own every army, but it's just getting down and painting them. But I'm like that. I'll quite happily sit and write lists for days and hours, and then get it ripped to bits by Liam. You should have done this. You should have done that. It's like, all right, Dad.
If you're going to post it and ask for advice on it, then I'm going to give you advice. Oh yeah, go buy more common goblins. They're brilliant done.
Yeah, go buy more
novel all the way.
So I've always wanted to run just an army of Ungor, and Liam was like, "It's a bad idea. Don't do it. You're an idiot." So I went and bought Ungor, and they won me a game once. So
once.
It was a guy in a demo game, but what can you do? It's still a game, right?
I guess. Did you paint them? Were these the ones that arrived painted? You had to rebase?
Yeah, no. These ones I did actually paint myself, but the other one, the other Ungor were painted by my other thing I do, which is the AOS friend Tom. He painted them and sent me them. I actually want to ask you about your commission painting stuff, because obviously, like you just said, a lot of the stuff you paint on stream are usually just one or two, like we can see there, the one or two figures. Are they your own collection, or are they actually commission paints that you paint for someone on stream to obviously be a part of? Because to me, it makes sense that because you're doing it anyway, you might as well also make content out of it.
Yeah, that would be the logic. It doesn't always work that way. Most of the time, it's my own stuff. And quite often it's just, it might be something because it's to do with the latest release or something like that. Especially now I get some bits from Games Workshop. More recently, a couple of times I've picked out things like the Necrosphinx and the Firebelly I did recently. I've used them to show off a technique, and they were both commission-based things. Unfortunately, it doesn't always line up the way I'd like it to. Sometimes it's because a client's paid for a certain level of paint job, and it's not always going to make an entertaining video as well. So, but I probably should try and do that a bit more, because it would make sense in terms of the amount of time it takes to paint something and edit and all the rest and put it together. But most of the time it's my own stuff.
Are you painting up a whole ogre army, or was it just a one-off model?
It's just a one-off model. So it's a viewer of the channel wanted something painted by me and talked about it, and it was you got a slight discount on the price because I was going to be use it as some content, so it worked in that context, and it's something I might try and do a little bit more. But again, you're open to what people suggest. someone suggests they want something done, or they want a certain standard, it might not make a video, but that just lined up quite nicely with the kind of the amount of money they wanted to spend, their budget, and what I tend to do on the channel, which is towards the sort of the top end of tabletop. I'm not making, they're not competition winning pieces at all, but they're sort of character level tabletop quite often, or higher end tabletop, the kind of level that you might, if you're trying to win a best painted at an event or something, that kind of level. That's why I try and
not
pitch my stuff. No, it's nowhere near Golden Demon. And the one Golden Demon I entered, I have a pin, and the quality of the work for it, so many years old now, you wouldn't go anywhere even near that now. The standards just moved on crazy over the
It's
years.
insane now, isn't it? The standard on Golden Demon, it's nuts.
Beyond me now.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I mean, I will never claim to be the best painter in the world, but I can usually, I'm one of those that has to move on to different units. Like I couldn't sit and paint. Like currently, I've got 32 Sea Guards sat on my desk. I look at them and it's like, no, I don't want to do this. If you give me characters, happily do it. I'd be like, I sent you a couple of pictures yesterday, didn't I? We'll not talk about the game because Liam gets really triggered about it. But I will quite happily sit and paint those miniatures because they are individuals rather than the old world ones where you're repetitively painting the same over and over again. Because I'm one of those where if you, I don't know if you guys are, like, if you notice something that's isn't right, you have to go back and do it. And then you've got to do it on every single one then. So it really annoys me. So I need to be in the zone to do it a lot of the time, which having a 1-year-old tomorrow doesn't always help now. So
I don't miss those days.
Yeah, so yeah, my time is scarce at the minute, as these two will tell you because they're always moaning at me. Are we recording? I ain't got time. I'm doing something. I ain't got time.
Yeah, it's usually drinking or going on a night out.
Yeah, holidays. I'm allowed to live, Jack.
No.
I'm fully committed to this, but I am allowed to live. Yeah, so obviously Liam's got there up on there your YouTube front page. You've got a Patreon as well, haven't you, on there as well?
I have, yeah.
Which
It helps. It helps
yeah,
a little. It's good.
That's it. Well, it keeps you going, doesn't it? And that's all you need.
Really
I've
does.
been involved in many YouTube things now. These things, and I couldn't do it as a job because I like the hobby. If that makes sense. I know you don't, but I mean, like Mikey, for instance, on Hellstorm Wargame, I used to do it too. He now does it full time. I can't do that because you get too invested in it then, and then I don't think I'd enjoy it. From my perspective, anyway. I don't know about you guys or.
Each to their own, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess there's a point where
golden rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, surely there's a point where the hobby becomes too much of the job, too much of the job.
Yeah. You're not really supposed to enjoy your job, are you? Really?
I think that's the key, though, isn't it? It's if you're still enjoying it and you can earn from it, then that's like
that's it. Yeah.
The perfect situation, isn't it? A lot of people said when I started commission painting, you'll regret it because you won't want to paint your own stuff, and that's never been the case. Actually, it's I could do a day's painting and still want to paint my own in the afternoon or in the evening afterwards. And so far, that's the same with YouTube. If I could do it full time, I probably would actually. But it's a tough world, and I'm not sure a 47-year-old man is the face of modern day YouTube full time. So I don't see it happening. I don't see it growing to the point where I could stop the commission painting. It'd be nice, but yeah, the channel's not big enough for that, and my patron numbers aren't what they are for that, which is fine. It's fine being a smaller part of what Miniature Realms is as it stands. Yeah, I'll keep open to it in the future, but I don't expect that to change too much.
Well, once you've got all our subscribers and followers tuning into you, you'll be fine. I think that should,
it's like 150 or whatever it is. Not even 150,000, just 150 people. But no, I think we do this for farming. We don't earn anything from it. We're just doing it because we pretend to like each other.
We'd be having these chats regardless, so we might as well film.
Yeah, we might as well. Exactly that. And I think that's literally how it started. This all started, wasn't it? It was, should we just record a podcast? And it was like, yeah, why not? And then it's become what it is tonight or today. And obviously, you having me on also helps. I think gives like a good 60, 70 people push, which were nice. So hopefully you'll have the magic again for us. But yeah, we'll catch you soon anyway.
60 people.
Yeah.
You'll get there with it as well. It's YouTube's really tough at the moment. Genuinely, there's been 2 or 3 algorithm changes this year that have made it a lot harder. So you've picked a hard time to start as it is anyway. And it just takes time. The reason I like what you do is because it's just the old school podcast in many ways. You take that time to talk about your own hobby and stuff, whereas podcasts have probably changed and evolved a little bit now. They're a lot more kind of content media-y focused, big story focused, and you just put an honest, 3 friends talking about their hobby kind of podcast out there. So it's I like it because it's the first stuff I used to listen to was like that, and I started listening to podcast through Bad Dice and Podhammer many years ago, and that's how I discovered content creation in that sort of way, and that was just blokes talking about hobby that I liked and stuff. So yeah, it reminds me of that. It's good stuff. You'll get there. You'll find it suddenly just takes off after a point.
I mean, you said friends there, but we'll call it acquaintances.
Speaking of hobby,
if you've ever been on an event night with all 3 of us there, we're just giving each other so much like abuse all weekend.
That's what friends are now.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of proves it. It proves that you are friends.
Walking past each table, going, have you lost yet? No. Wow, that's a shame. So that's obviously Stu and Miniature Realms. Go like, share, and follow, and all that jazz. We need it. Stu doesn't. Come to us instead. And I think, to be fair, I'm just literally looking at your subs there, and I think you've got 500 odd videos there as well. We're on 14. So we've got a long way to go, guys. To get to some, at least 1,000. So,
so do you tend to get one out every 2 days? Looking at your
looking at that.
Yeah, I try to do 2 a week, and sometimes it's a third. The last few weeks it's been 3. Quite often when there's a little review or something in the middle, it's easier to put an extra video out. But yeah, I try to do 2 a week. And yeah, he's just, who knows what's the best thing to do anymore, because they keep changing the rules on it. But a couple of weeks tended to be the way.
The amount of stuff GW just keep throwing out to everybody now as well. It's every week, in fact, isn't it? There's something new. There's something for Black Library. There's something for 40k. Something for Hot Heresy. Yeah. All of the game systems now. There's something every week now. So I can imagine it keeps you ticking over, absolutely. But I can imagine it. How do you keep up with it all?
They tend to come at the same time as well, which is annoying because I don't cover AOS or 40k.
Yeah.
But I'll quite often, when I do get stuff sent, the amount of times I've had Middle Earth stuff sent the same week that it's an old bod release, and then you can't put 2 videos out on the same day. The algorithm really can't handle it, so you have to pick and choose. Yeah. So I went this weekend. I went with a Heresy review, and then yesterday I went with the new Theoden miniature.
So
and
nice,
just picking and choosing and looking at the numbers. Probably should have done it the other way around, but I'd have had no way of knowing before that point, really. So and then they're not old world, and that's the thing that really sort of people tend to sort of tune in more for. So yeah, it's feast and famine a little bit because of the stuff I cover, because it's SDS stuff more than the major studio stuff.
Yeah, I think with Phaedra as well, I think it was kind of a ghost release because there wasn't anything really covered in it.
Yeah, wasn't in the preview.
Yeah, no one even knew what was happening. Then we've got a model. I think the only thing you could I think the only kind of inkling that he was coming out, because I think he was in the Armies of Middle Earth book.
He was in the book, yeah.
So, and then obviously the picture was there, and then Love and Behold is released.
You can never be sure, because there's been miniatures over the years that just don't end up being released for whatever reason. So it was a case of everyone spotted it, but you can never be 100% sure. And then everyone was excited. I woke up on Saturday morning, and because of the New Zealand stuff goes up first, doesn't it? So there's the groups are all full of, have you seen the miniature? And I'm like, yeah, I've had it for a couple of weeks, but I couldn't say anything, chuckling away. But it's probably helped the numbers on my video, actually, because if it had been announced, it wouldn't have been so much news. Because I didn't get the other stuff, I didn't get the book or the other stuff that was released as well. So it felt a little bit like, I've got the one that's not been previewed, but maybe it was good.
Yeah. And I'm going to say you do all historical stuff like you said before as well, and you could.
I touch on it a bit now, not as much, but I do. Yeah, the channel's kind of not moved away from it as such, because it tends to reflect what I'm playing at the moment. But I suppose as soon as Old World, as soon as square-based Warhammer came back, that was always going to dominate and stick around as well. I can't, unless they stop producing the game again, that's probably going to be the main thing on the channel. It's just because it was always my love, and that was with the years that it was in the wilderness. That's probably why I was looking for something to fill the gap.
Did you notice a sort of big change in your sort of subscriber base?
Oh, huge, because historicals don't really give you loads of numbers. I've probably added 20 of my 24k in 6 months before the release, because I started putting out content, but it grew quite quickly. So over the space of a couple of years. Yeah, so it's good. It's definitely good for that.
Amazing. So, I think this is just going to all kind of shoot us down a bit. Have we even got any news this week? Yeah. No.
Nothing's happened.
We've got no news. There's nothing released. Anything for Old World at all, is there?
No, it's not been an Old World on community article for about 5 weeks at this stage.
Yeah.
So there'll be something soon, I'm sure, but just twiddling our thumbs until then.
I think
all the rumours are regurgitated ones now, aren't they, with just slightly different angles?
Yeah. I think because we're waiting, obviously, on the Cetra Arcane Journal next, aren't we? I think it's one of those, isn't it? Now, because they've released all the armies, it's either going to be character slots, Arcane Journal slots. Nothing. I wouldn't have thought anything major now for a good few months, maybe. But who knows?
The Cetra Journal has the Dogs of War army list in there, right? So I'm hoping that we'll get a nice influx of old
models,
Dogs of War models for like the Birdmen and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get a nice little drop of. Hopefully they're not just like made to order as well. They actually stick around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for those woods that I ordered back in June. They're just still in processing, so I don't know where they're coming from.
Well, you know how long those the Fortress Manor things took for me to get from Element. That was like 9 months, 10 months, something like that. So, that took a considerable amount of time.
I think with in terms of releases, I think was it 40k this one. I think they've released some of the boxes, haven't they? The Combat Patrol, I think they're called.
Yeah, the Dark Eldar, Adari, and the Drukhari, whatever they're called, and the Krieg Start Collecting Combat Patrol box. But,
so is it out out Saturday, the Drukhari stuff?
No, it'll be a week on Saturday.
Oh, so it's pre-order. Yeah, they're usually 2 weeks now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they brought Lady Malaise back, haven't they? I don't know if you guys obviously play 40k, but she's her character was awesome in the story. She was amazing.
This is just time wasted that we're not talking about Old World then.
I know. I'm talking to the guy. This is what we do. Talk to the guy about 40k, and he falls asleep.
Right. With that in mind,
that's news. Well, that's news. What we got next? We got hobby.
We have.
Next slide, please. What is that?
So, following on from my cafe, I decided to revisit the Walls of the Sea.
Yep.
So this is my new Chaos fighting character of some variant, depending on what I want in a given week. It fits just on a normal cavalry base, so it'll have that, and then I'm going to do the whole thing where you slot it inside different base sizes.
Yeah,
so I can just have one base and then change it up for 2 sides of demonic mount base, depending on what I need, because it's a really big horse or wolf.
Big wolf.
But,
small dragon though. Small dragon.
Yeah, small dragon, depending on what I feel like. But yeah, so this has been built
on
converted.
60 by 30, that, Liam?
Yes.
So
that's 60 by 30.
Bigger cavalry base.
Yeah. So I need to get a big base for the Pegasus Knight base for 60 by 40, and then I've got the Dragon Ogre size one, which I'm using currently to hold it up in front of me. But yeah, so this is the Dracothi War Queen, some legs from a Dark Oath Fell Rider, and one of Russ's Wolves from 40k, from Paris even. So I've got a second one to convert over at some point to have a pair of them. And I'm now into models that I really want to do more than models which are building an army. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of one of the things where when I go to, I'm going to try and do more narrative events next year. So I want options and models that I wouldn't normally spend time and effort building because they're not the top choice on the tabletop. So I'm going to expand the army out a little bit and go back to them, and then that will hopefully see me through until Cafe
until the next Power Army gets released.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, is if you reel it in a bit, Liam, because of what you've been doing.
Well, speaking of that, I also played a game.
Name yourself.
So this was a really toned down list. So it was Newcastle comp for in November.
Yep.
I'm only allowed one lantern if it's a character, or two if they're normal ones. So I took two normal lanterns. One of them's off on the right hand side of his photo, trying to kill a unit of skeleton skirmishers and a unit of skeleton archers, and it just about got them by the end of the game. But this is a cavalry bus, BSB, and it just kind of, and I ran it at the Tomb King gun line effectively, and two necrosyncers got put in front of my cavalry bus and my Shugengan pair, and you'll notice there are no necrosyncers on the table at this point.
Yeah.
Shugengan and Lord and Shugengan General went through one, cavalry bus went through the other one, and yeah, I got into the back line and that was that. But
down.
Well, it is toned down from what, like, I've got a BSB character on a horse. That's definitely toned down from characters riding lanterns. Yeah.
It's practically the same list minus the characters in the lanterns.
Yeah. Well, they're the hardest bits of the list. Yeah, toned down. What am I meant to say? Look, I've got Empire Archers. Look at that.
Yeah.
There we go, look.
He's got 30 points of Empire Archers.
Yeah.
Well, I did play them wrong, and I came over to like shield my side from ambushes. Whereas what I should have done is just ran them behind the units to get the rerolls in combat.
That's it. You need to be 3 inches for them to do anything.
And
they're just Empire Archers.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to just like caution to the wind and run them forward and make sure they do work by buffing the good stuff in my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was it. Quite a quiet week. Pardon?
You did win, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I think we called it at the end of turn 3.
When was the last time you played a game past turn 3, Liam?
I know. Do you even like Warhammer, Liam?
Some of the event ones wonderful. When I played Nick and Ryan at Faith Hammer the other week, and John, they all went to the full 6 turns. So,
okay.
So half of my recent games have gone to full length.
We'll let you off.
That's me done.
Oh, it's me. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, there's 32 Sea God there to paint. Built them all. Love building. Fine. I know there's also the armies there to paint. So we'll go on to it later.
You put the shield on already?
They're already on there, mate. They're part of the sculpt.
Is it
It's literally
yeah.
Obviously Stu painted a couple on his channel, and they are literally one body and an arm.
Yeah, so you not just paint it and then put the arm on afterwards.
The arm's the spear.
Yeah, it's just a spear. So
right. Okay. Okay.
The shield is actually a part of. It's all sculpted into the model.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the Island of Blood ones.
Yeah, they're all got all these models at this point.
Starter set. So this is I just wanted to do something a bit different with my high elves, because everyone just takes the dragons and stuff now, and
I thought you built yourself a Tracian Warhost. What happened to that?
That's ready to be painted still. But this is what I mean. I wanted the armies for each of the. So I've got the Tracian Warhorse. I've now got the Sea Guard sorted, the Sea Guard garrison, and obviously I've got my generic elves, which are just obviously Grand Army. But I wanted to try these because again we'll go on to it later with Liam's thing. But this is what I want to take because it is going to be narrative. And I think the Sea Guard garrison is probably one of the most rigid kind of lists you can take because you are so limited to what you can actually take in this army. So I've pretty much got everything there on the roster, I think. So there's some of the ship's company, which are the archers behind. You've got your shadow warriors. You've got all of the variants of characters, apart from a noble. You've got the Merworm, you've got the Sky Cutters, and then obviously the Bolt Thrower. I don't think there's anything much more I can take. I think Aurelian Reavers, I think, is the only thing they can take.
Second Merworm.
Yeah. So I've tried to get a bit of everything in there, just to make it look cool, and then obviously I want to run Vest, but Liam's not letting me because he's selfish. So I'm going to make a character now.
Now you've got a new model to add to the army when you've painted for the event, and you want to add to it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, the thing is, so with the Sky Cutters, you get the Sea Helm as well. So I've got another Sea Helm to build, which will probably be my character of the army. Yeah. Well, I don't know what you call them, the Grand Champion or something, Liam.
I can't remember exactly. Was it
we'll go into it in a bit.
Hero of
yeah,
something like that.
And the two things on top left are they are actually Belvin vortexes, but I've just sized them out a bit because the doubles event, which Liam's coming to in October, I realised that one of the missions in the doubles thing is you need special features. So I'm making lots of these things, which we can keep down at the club. It's the easiest thing I could find, which wasn't a tower and would take 24 hours to 3D print. So these only take 6 hours to do. So I've got 5 done so far. I'm probably going to need, at the minute, I'm probably going to need 10. So I'm halfway through. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of hobby, but I'm not allowed to put a lot of this stuff on here because again, Liam controls the power.
Have you built or painted any more little boats?
No. Oh yeah, it's still you like this one.
You got bored of them already?
Yeah, I've been playing Black Seas.
Oh. Yeah, I saw you. I was watching your episode, and I thought, I wonder if he's done the rigging. And I thought, oh, he has.
Yeah,
but that'll be the last one you finish. Yeah, that'll be the last one you do. So I did too, and I was like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah, and I was.
They look great, but it's the rigging has put me off it. It just takes so long to the point now. I'd probably 3D print in a smaller scale and just use the rules for it, which is a shame because they're beautiful miniatures, but. Yeah, the rigging. You've got to really, 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 really like it to really, really, really want it.
This is it, and I don't think they look right without it though. That's the problem because I did do one without one. I was like, well, before I did that, I was like, no, it needs the rigging on. It does need the rigging, and like you said, I'm probably going to do them all because I've done them. I'm going to have to now do all the rigging on them, and it's going to take me to within an inch of my life. I know I am. I know it is. So we'll see.
You're going to start adding bowstrings onto all your bows and your archers and stuff then?
It might get that way. You know what the worst thing is as well? So we played it on Wednesday at the club, and then I went out and I bought more stuff. So I've now got more boats to build and paint. Sucker for punishment, me, I'm telling you. I think that's the only thing I couldn't really believe. These three.
I think that's you done.
You're allowed to put up.
The only thing I'm allowed to speak about here.
And then over to me. So last episode, I'd sort of finished a mammoth session of getting through Tomb King's army. And then this time last week, Dan was like, "Oh yeah, we've got Stuart coming on next week, and we're going to talk about hobby." And I was like, "Oh no!" So that I had to quickly rustle something else together. So I've broken out a box of Tomb Guard, and built those and spent today painting them up pretty much. So yeah, this is about the limit of my hobby for the week. Although I did get to a little 8th edition event at the weekend, so I played a bit of 8th edition Warhammer. Sort of a it's part of like a narrative campaign with a special character. So you can see like the little green jester at the front of my army. He's like a special character with brings in special rules each event, and it's sort of just a bit of a fluffy, fun themed event. So as Stuart mentioned earlier, not all characters who've always been mentioned in books ever got a model. So I've got Kolek in the middle there, leader my army.
I love that model.
A cool sort of 3D print of, I think it's like the war,
It's
Total War. It's like
Yeah.
the Total War file ripped off and turned into a print. So he's very cool, although he has these spikes all over his body and they're the razor sharp, and the amount I took up like my fingernail when I was trying to like grab him and stuff. And oh my god, Corn was happy by the end of that day with the amount of blood that was drawn from my fingers.
What did you run, Jack, there? Because I've got demons, I've got beastmen. What was the actual?
So it's Warriors of Chaos.
With no warriors.
Yeah. Well, my warriors. There was warriors, and then I realized I'd rebased them into old world basing. And I was like, okay, well, what have I got in? I really wanted to run Kolek and 2 Dragon Ogre Chagoths and 2 units of Dragon Ogres, which are really bad in 8th edition. And I was like, okay, so I had some Chaos Warriors in my core, and then realized they were on the wrong bases, and I was like, okay, well, what else have I got that can be core? A big unit of trolls. So then I had to bring Throg in to sort of enable them as core. So yeah, there's no magic in the list, so I got absolutely hammered by a vampire list at the end on game 3. But I had a good game 1 versus some Bretonians. It was sort of diagonal deployment. He deployed right on the edge of the line, I deployed right on the edge of the line, and then he decided to pray. And we were like 10 inches away from each other, so I just charged his whole army with my whole army and sort of ran through them. So it was great for me. Game 2 was against some Chaos Dwarves. So that's the bottom left picture. You can see them camped in that top left corner. And they just sort of shot my army to pieces as I got across the board. I think at the end of the game, I had Kolek left. He had a Kadai destroyer and maybe 1 artillery piece, and that was all that was alive at the end of the game. So it was quite a fun game. And I sort of won by like 50 points over the win limit, so that was tidy. And then I got drawn into a vampire list at the end, which was just hordes and hordes of zombies, a big block of Graveguard, a couple of Mortis engines. I forgot how oppressive vampire magic was in 8th edition compared to the old world. Everyone complains about it in the old world, but in 8th
just
edition,
magic in general in 8 is oppressive.
Yeah, like 1 invocate spell was bringing like 12, 15 models back on like 6 different units at the same time. I was like, oh my god, this is just it was pretty brutal. So I got absolutely annihilated in that game. But it was a good weekend. I came away with a tiny little trophy for best character for Kolek that was voted on, so that was nice. And just had a nice little chill weekend. Although on the drive there, it was over towards Manchester way, and I was sort of going across the A50 on the way, and there's a road closure. I got a 40-mile detour down Farmers single tracks pretty much to start the morning off, and then the drive home was the torrential rain on Saturday night. So it was. I was glad to get home at the end of the day. But yeah, that's
Sounds
sort
fun.
of, yeah.
I don't know how you can play 8th edition and play Old World at the same time. The whole idea of playing different editions of the same game melts my brain. I think I've already got an amalgamation of different eras of gaming messed up in my head. I just couldn't do it.
Very badly, hence why I took an army which is just push across the board with nothing. Yeah, there's no magic, no tactics. It was just push across the board and see if I can make it across into combat. But it was most disappointing as my Dragon Ogres got into combat. I was like, I've got like a 2 up, 3 up armor save, something like that. No, 5 up and it's gone from anything. I was like, this is different, very different game. But I think the biggest sort of difference is the sort of charge range. Obviously in 8th edition, it's sort of 2d6 plus your movement. So like, yeah, you just sort of move up and you're like, oh, I've got bags of space, like loads of time, and then suddenly just like you're getting charged. And you're like, what? Like how is it? How is this possible? It felt a lot more fast paced. But no, it's nice just to. It's more just a weekend of catching up with old friends that are too stubborn to move over to Old World.
Those guys.
Friend of the channel and Rob was there, so
we like Rob.
Yeah, so he was playing his. You'd have liked it, Dan. It was a Sea Guard garrison list, effectively. I think he had like five of the flying chariots just like pinging bolts across the board.
When the Sea Guard were actually good in an edition.
So you'd enjoy it. So yeah, it was a nice chill event.
How did you find the giving ground and falling back in good order? Because obviously it doesn't happen in 8th ed, does it? Combat is just brutal in 8th ed. Did everything just literally run off and die, whoever lost the combat type of thing? Or
no, because steadfast was a thing there. So as you can see, I've not really got huge amounts
of change as well. Stubborn were completely different, weren't it?
Yeah, so I've not got a huge amount of ranks really. So I'd get into combat and they'd just be basically stubborn on the base leadership until I ground them down to nothing. So there's a lot of sort of having to get multi-charges in to make sure I had enough output to sort of do some damage. But yeah, having sort of second ranks of attacks with three attacks each out of the trolls, and I was forgetting about hordes, so I was charging to big units of infantry and getting 3 ranks of attacks back and be like, oh my god. So yeah, there's so many little changes to rules that little changes but make such a big difference. But no,
which is why you don't play multiple editions of roughly the same game.
The same game, yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm petering the 8th out. It's more just the odd sort of friendly event just to go catch up with friends. I'm done with competitive 8th edition. Not that there's huge amounts out there. There's still a couple of little events running around a couple of times a year. But I'm all in on Old World these days. So I guess now I'm just I've got an event down in Cardiff coming up at the end of October, run by Ollie down at Firestorm Games. So I've got to come up with, I assume, I painted up the Tomb Kings thinking I'd use them, but I'm still undecided as to what I'll take. So that's the job for the next couple of weeks. Try and get a practice game or two in here or there if I can, and find something I enjoy taking. That's not just the usual ogres or something that's just going to get absolutely battered for 5 games.
He's not running Renegades either, is he? I don't think.
No, he's not. The demons will be staying at home, unfortunately.
Which is just
depending if you want to sell your soul.
Yeah.
Like
take your cafe. I think he's transporting them around.
What we need to do, Jack, you need to do it and lose horribly just so it makes Liam look better.
No, it's just because Liam got the early access. That'll be the indifference, right?
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, let's not do that. I'll fill you in stream, Stu.
Unlike most of our guests, Stu actually sent photos of his hobby. So,
So this was the doubles, or my half of the doubles army for Throne of Skulls that I didn't get to go to. So I've been starting to dust it off again and try and do something with it. So that's what a little bit of what I've been working on the last couple of weeks, really. I've got two things I'm going to do. There's going to be a video hopefully out this week as we're recording. I don't know when you're putting this out. That shows you how I made this. And the gap on the board there was where my partner's Marienburg army was going to go. And obviously I've got the Cathay side. Don't know if they're any good. Don't know. So that was the board for it. And, you know, it's the idea is it's a Marienburg docks. You can see a bit of a boat
Very
in
cool.
there in the background, which I've made, and I filmed it all, meaning to put this together as a bit of a video to go with my weekend at the Throne of Skulls kind of thing. And it just sat there on my computer since then. So I'm going to turn that into a bit of a tutorial about how I've made that. But what I've started to do to it now is change it slightly, and I'm going to enter it into the local Games Workshop's Armies on Parade. I think I've got to sort of the 26th or 27th of October for their date. I've never done it before. I don't go to the store, but I've got to go down there and display it. And then apparently they're they're going to be so busy that they take some pictures and they're going to put it out to vote. So yeah, I've got no expectations because how they manage voting on a Facebook page, who knows? Especially if I'm not a normal attendee, but it just gives me something positive to do with it. Having made it, it's nice for it not just to become content. Because I definitely can't fit it in my display cabinet, so the army's going to have to go away. So it'll end up getting put in a bin bag and shoved in my loft, really, which is a bit of a shame. So I thought, at least if I try and turn it into a Armies on Parade board, it's going to be fun. But I'm going to add more to it. I'm probably going to add the rest of the Cathay army on there because that's obviously only 1,000 points. You can see in the picture, and I've been painting up about 500 points worth of Marienburg myself for a J Fleet army. So if I can get them finished in time, including some Manan's blades, which I've managed to dig out of my loft, I think that would be cool to add to it. If I don't get them done, I'll just display the Cathay army on it. But I've started working on a backdrop for it as well, painting a backdrop, which is interesting because I've not done any painting since A-level art, which was a very long time ago. But yeah, it's been good fun, and it's just a shame not to have been able to take it to Throne of Skulls doubles. So it's just wanted to do something with it, really. So started to do a little bit more work on it. But most of my work this week will be editing the footage I've got into a kind of a tutorial of how I've got to that stage, really. And then I'll make a second video if I make it to the Armies on Parade day and show the stage 2 of it all. But it's been good fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about? I mean, I don't actually know how far you are away from Warhammer, but you know they have like guest displays and stuff like that. I mean, obviously it's whether you want to keep your army at Warhammer World, but having it on display for everyone else to enjoy.
I think they generally ask you rather than you sort of turn up.
I'm going to storage.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't been approached yet. I don't really tend to hang around in Nottingham that much. It's a couple of hours away. It's not too far, but I think it tends to be people that game there and things a lot. And I only get to a couple of events a year, and I've missed both of mine this year that I should have gone to there. But yeah, if they asked ever, I'd consider it. But yeah, I'd also use my stuff in filming a lot. I'm not sure I'd want to lose it to the cabinets for too long.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I've decided to go to the local. I think because obviously they'll have their own Armies on Parade day there as well. But you know, it's easier to go to my local one and find the time. My wife works most Saturdays, so that's why events are quite elusive for me because it's basically me and my kids at home at the weekends or doing something. But for me to get away for weekends is usually I have to plan quite far in advance, and it becomes hard to do, really. So you've got your doubles coming up in October, haven't you? And I'm just like, I'd love to go, just no chance, just no chance I can get the whole weekend, and I'm not close enough just to pop in for a couple of hours and say hello either. So it's a bit of a challenge, but yeah, I've got a pass for a few hours the Saturday, so I will. My goal anyway is to content first. I'll make a video on that, and I'll try and change it a little bit and get the rest of my army on it, and at least enter the Armies on Parade. It's not going to win anything because it's cool, but it's not. Some of the stuff, the standard of the stuff that people do is just incredible now. You look at the winners and things from last year, but it was good fun, and I want to put it to some use and something positive rather than just sort of I didn't go, so I'll stick it in the loft.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I've got a bit. So with the terrain we first bought to start our events off. With the Wandering Warlocks, what we run the events with in Sheffield, we actually got given the Balin's Tomb, The guy we bought it from actually made Barlin's Tomb, so we've got it's made out of insulin boards and stuff. So it's got all the Barlin's Tomb and stuff in it, but it's just on top of my wardrobe because I'm just like, what can I do with it? It's a shame because it's amazing, but it's one of those where it probably needs to be in a shop somewhere for people to use and stuff. But then it's like, it's also mine. I don't really want it to be broken. So it's a really tough spot, with that.
I made one a few years ago, actually, during COVID, when they released the book that took you through all the scenarios for the film.
Ring Bearer?
Quest of the Ring Bearer. That's the one.
Yeah.
It was during COVID, and I was doing Out of the Frying Pan podcast at the time with my mate Dan, and we played a lot of the games over Zoom. Well, I know it wasn't Zoom at that point, but I had it all set up here.
Yeah.
Filmed bits, and then we talked about it on an audio podcast, and it worked at the time. It seems like no YouTube channel there. It seems like I was missing out on something. But yeah, I made one out of blue foam, and it's quite cool. But again, that sat in my loft for ages and ages, and I thought I'd have sold it in the end just because someone can use it and get some love out of it. And I'm sure at some point I'll regret it, but it served its purpose for the time.
Yeah, I keep thinking about making like a book nook version of it or something like that, just to
that would be cool.
sit on my shelf. I'm just a bit a bit too lazy on that sort of super creative side. Me and Liam made some display boards for, was it the first Throne of Skulls that we made? That's a bit, but mine's a bit more basic than this.
Was it yours just like a cooking tray, Jack?
No, it was like a picture frame off Amazon. And then I basically just flipped upside down, covered it in texture paint, which cost a fortune because I didn't realize how much area to get a decent coverage of text paint. I think he's like 4 pots at like £12 a pot. I was like, oh God.
I think I remember as well, Jack. Both me and Liam told you not to do that and just sand it, and you just ignored us, didn't you?
Probably sounds like something I'd
do. You're doing something like you'd end up. I think when I did loads of scenery for AOS a while back, ended up getting like cat litter and sand and paint and PV in a bucket and mixing it up and like covering everything in that because cat litter doubles the size of everything for next to no money.
Yeah, a lot of cat litter on my bases actually, but also throwing money at a problem. I'm not averse to that either. Sometimes, it's just easy, isn't it? If it's all mixed up, and as long as you weren't using the Citadel pots, the Sterling muds.
Oh no! Oh god!
No. You've had to remortgage.
Slightly bigger pots than those, but yeah, it's just sat in my garage since. So I need to get that back out at some point. So it fits like 80% of my army's basing team, so give me an excuse to get one of the older armies out instead of the Tomb Kings at some point back in the future.
I've never made one, but I feel like I should now. I'd like to give it a go, to be fair. But I don't know what army I'd put on it. I've got them all. So which one do I make it for?
Is your basing different with every army?
Yeah, pretty much, because I'm an idiot like that.
Well, mine was now. As I've converted over to bases, I've sort of tried to unify them largely.
Yeah, I've got like snow bases on most of my chaos stuff. Snow bases on my dwarves. We've got like desert on the orcs, generic grass stuff on the Empire and the Bretonnians, and then we've got like flowery things on the High Elves. What else have I got?
All I'm hearing is you need to make 7 display boards.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, which is really annoying because I like to do on the movement trays. I like to make them look like the bases as well. So I've had to buy 100 more movement trays.
One for each army.
Yeah. Luckily, they're just made out of NDS, so they're not too bad. But I've got a box full of movement trays.
Sounds like Liam's event is the perfect excuse for you to make a nice board for.
Yeah. Okay.
I've started to buy movement trays from a place called Hobby Heaven. You can get it on eBay, but they've got a website as well. They're 3D printed, but they're a really low, really small profile around the edge. Okay. The only issue is if you're using Citadel bases, their size is a little bit off. So it's a little bit tight, but if you use the Hobby Heaven 25mm ones, they just fit in there perfectly. And it's such a small profile that I've just used a tiny bit of the same texture that I use on everything. And now I've got a collection that's grown quite a lot, so I can pretty much use them with any army. So it might be worth doing that at some point. Though it's quite an investment if you end up buying loads and loads.
Yeah, well, my friends got free. Well, these two have both got 3D printers, but one of my friends got a 3D printer that runs basically just off his solar panels, so it's effectively just like free printing bar the material cost. So I've got bags and bags and bags of 5 mil different size movement trays, and I was like, suddenly go, oh, actually, I might want to try running one wider in that unit and then getting to print and use it off.
Print again.
I just need to come and dump a load at one of Dan's events for a free for all for other people to take.
Hobby
yeah,
Heaven
very
might
handy.
go to for bases as well.
Hobby Heaven's my base
Yeah.
go-to as well.
Well, on the rebasing, I mean everything that I get now obviously is from GW, so they'll get the normal bases. But when I was rebasing, yeah, Hobby Heaven were literally lifesavers for the base, because they're just so good value for money, and the bases were actually really good as well. They weren't like the flimsy 3D printed ones which you can get from other people and stuff. They were proper bases which were nice. So yeah.
I do. Yeah, as Stuart said, I do sometimes have that issue where I'm using one base style and then suddenly it just doesn't fit in the movement tray, and I'm like, oh, and then I have to swap one model out to one of the slightly smaller bases, and suddenly it fits. I'm like, oh.
Shall we move on to the next topic after Stu's shown us all up?
I mean, it feels bad to move on to that. But yeah.
Right. So, more of a question, I guess. I'll flick on the there's a little ticker along the bottom. The future of the old world, or the future of old world.
We don't want anyone
Where
to break any
do we see
NDAs.
it going? And what are your hopes for the future? Is the question. Liam, you've not said a lot today. I'm going to go start with you, Liam.
Cool, means I get to pick all the best options first, right?
Yeah.
And you can't
Be
repeat.
careful, because you might get called out.
So I said it before, but this is kind of the. Yeah, it's coming through you, Dan.
For me.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe, who knows.
Yeah, there we go.
This is the exciting part of the old world. So when it got released, we knew that we were going to get 9 army books for each of the arcane journals for the factions, and then we've had Cafe, so new, shiny, fantastic, and then we know we're getting now this after a second Cafe one. Obviously, we're now getting this War of Sector's Fury, I think it's called, and you've now got all these potentially armies of infamy from multiple different armies in one book, and it's just going to expand the storyline. And this is a bit I was always been looking forward to, but we're probably going to have to do at some point. I remember playing War Machine back in the day, and every 9 to 12 months you got a new book for either War Machine or Hordes, and it would have one new unit or one new Beast or Warjack and one new caster for every faction in that game. And this is kind of the closest game virtually I've come to that system, which was always been my favourite way of them doing something. Because you're just going to get, like, we're getting this time, we're getting what? Dwarfs, Dogs of War, and whatever the other one is or isn't.
King stuff, presumably.
Essentially, yeah. And you just kind of like, next time, what if we get Night Goblins and Bretonian, I don't know, whatever. Like, you've just got options to do different things depending on how they want to take the storyline. And I really can't wait to see what comes in that. Like, I would love them to expand from a personally selfish point of view here, I'd love them to expand the Wars of the Sea theme, give us more Norscan kind of units. I'd love them to bring back forest goblins. If we're going to just pick bits and bobs from existing armies, yes, you can do night goblins, but you can do an all night goblin force now if you wanted to. You can't do a forest goblin army unless you just want spiders. I want different types of forest goblins. I want to see mono god chaos armies if that's the direction they want to take the background and the narrative of the game. And obviously it's going to build at some point, whether that is in 18 months, in 3 years, or in 15 years, towards that Siege of Prague kind of timeline.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly that. When Jack's model is actually the right size, and he's massive, isn't he, in the lore? But that kind of thing, like some of the
Tears over the
characters
walls
that
of
were
pride.
alive, yeah, like some of the characters that we know are going to start to rise to prominence, like Teclis is going to become a major part of the Empire, but not for another 100 years, give or take.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be exciting getting to it. I just want them to give us 4 to 6 arcane journals a year with 2 to 3 armies of infamy, a new set of magic items. Like throw in the cool terrain features that are in the Jade Sea list. Give us ways of doing campaign weekends that are laid out nicer than the 2-page spread in the rulebook. Give us, I don't know, expanding ways to do different team events. Like, just not every event has to be a competitive one, though. So give us a way to run a map-based supplement. Bring back Triumph and Treachery, but old world updated. And I think I've probably picked at this point everything that you could mention. So who wants to go next?
Stuart, go on. We'll let you go now. Just because Jack's the youngest out of all of us, so you'll not have an idea what's going on.
I think Liam's hit it on the head though. The possibilities are endless now. We're in this new stage where they can play around and do the smaller things maybe and tick a few boxes. And I was quite encouraged actually about how well that last book was received, because I had a feeling, I loved it, but I had a feeling that people were going to get a little bit funny about it and say, well, this isn't a proper second Cathay book. But it was actually better received than I thought. I mean, and even there's bits I wouldn't have put the magic weapons at the back. I would have spent those pages on a Marienburg Army of Infamy and saved those magic items for a proper second Cathay book later in the future. But it doesn't really matter. It would maybe a bit of gap filling. But the Cetra book, it seems to really excite people, especially with 3 armies of infamy, the idea of lots of different things coming up like that. And then there's rumours in the future, well, they did the same with Bretonians and orcs and goblins. So another slightly different area, a bit of a campaign book. And then you could get maybe your forest goblins or something like that in that. I'd love to see, I like my empire, I like my humans, so I'd love to see that part of the narrative explored a little bit more. We know that it's a warring, fractured empire, but we haven't seen an awful lot of it. So we know we've learned a little bit about Marienburg. We know a bit about Nuln, but I'd like to see what's going on in the other provinces. So maybe you could do that in a book. We learn a little bit more about what's going on in Reichland, and maybe you get 2 or 3 armies of infamy that gives you at least covers the other big states that are there at the moment in that timeline. So I think that would be a really nice way of doing it. And very often the center of the universe for the old world is the empire, and that's the narrative of the story, and it expands out from that. So if I could choose, that's probably what I'd choose. But I'm pretty open just to see where they go with a lot of these other ideas, and hope they go with it for a long time. I don't think we need to rush on to a next stage. Actually, I don't necessarily want a second edition next year or even the year after that. I wouldn't mind a 1.5 edition reskin book to come out. They did it with Middle Earth. You'll know this, Dan. They did it with Middle Earth, didn't they? Before the edition that's out now. The edition before that was just a 1.5 edition, and it was just like 2 years of FAQs reprinted in the book and tidied up. And if you had all those FAQs, it didn't really change the rules, but it was a way of kind of just tidying it up and relaunching it. And it meant that all the books, all of the scenario books just stay current, stay with it. And if they could do something like that and keep all of these arcane journals still current, you keep a lot of people very happy as well. So it's a bit of a hope that's not directly linked to what I'd like to see in terms of story and development of armies, but that would be cool as well. But I'd be happy with 2 years, maybe more, maybe 3 years of arcane journals that just sort of dip in and out, like Liam said. But do that Empire one, because that would be really cool.
Do you think the Moot will make an appearance in an Empire one in the future?
That's your wish.
It's on
list,
the
isn't
map,
it?
isn't it? It's on the map. There's a lot of stuff on the map. A lot of people might realize. So if you watch, I've got a Warhammer TV subscription. I call it sort of professional interest. I keep an eye on it, and there's stuff that goes on there. There's an interview with Rob about the map, and there's a lot of comments on there that you don't see on the Warhammer community thing. So that a lot of the stuff on there is just because it looks cool and it gives them an idea of where they might go in the future, or it's just a way, it's imagination for everyone. You can see things on the map and they go, yes, that still exists within the world, and you have to imagine it. It doesn't necessarily mean everything because it's got a flag is going to become a thing. But it's fun that the moot's on there, and if you did an Empire book, yeah, you could have a unit maybe or something, and that'd be cool. Be fun. But again, I've got halfling troops I've painted up, and you can just run them as other stuff.
Yeah,
Run them as Empire archers and things. It's no one's going to not play you playing some halflings as Empire archers. They'll just be happy that there's halflings on the table.
Yeah,
and a hot pot as a mortar.
I'm going to say the hot pot. Yeah, you can't forget the hot pot. I think we said this previously as well, actually, on one of the other episodes, that because of where the old world is set, the game itself, is set, there's almost, obviously, there's the 200 years gap, but it's almost a blank canvas for anything that goes on in between that time, isn't it? So, literally, anything could happen. I'll have my go in a minute, Jack. You go, and then I'll have a go at whatever I'm going to say.
I guess I'm going to commit a bit of blasphemy here, but I quite enjoy.
Don't you dare say legacy armies.
I know, yeah. I will literally come to your house and beat you up on camera.
Quite enjoyed the way the end time books were written. And we had those Tamacon, those sort of narrative, those more sort of narrative based books with very much those story progressions in them. Obviously, I guess the difficulty is, like Stuart was saying, we don't want to progress time too quickly, too far forward, and sort of suddenly just rush through the old world and it be over with. So I guess it'd be nice to have some sort of, and I guess we're getting it just very slowly and dribs and drabs through the arcane journals. But I guess tying into, as Liam was saying, if we could get those cool narrative sort of campaign battles that were described in those books, I think that'd be a really cool way just to get a bit more content out of it. Although saying that, I don't think I've played one of the missions out of any of the journals yet, so I feel like I'm saying one thing and actually not following it up. So I think that's one of the sort of next things that I'd quite like to do, is just try and work my way through, maybe on a club nights or something like that, just start working through some of those sort of more narrative journal based missions and see how they play out, because I've got literally no idea how the sort of the actual gameplay of any of those is in practice.
Get your cafe sorted, and I'll bring the Walls of the Sea, and we'll play through all 3 games of that campaign.
Or you bring your cafe and your Walls of the Sea. And
that could work as well.
I could borrow some Walls of the Sea as well, Jack. If you want.
And cafe.
To be fair.
So I think I think similar to you guys, I'd just like to see those more story-based battles that there's actual text behind them, sort of saying this is how it played out in the book. How does it actually play out on the table when you sort of build it? Just to make those stories, which I'm hoping is sort of what we'll see at Liam's event and at Tom's event in February. This sort of Orcs vs Dwarfs narrative event. So I'm really excited just to try some of those and ease off the super competitive events that Dan likes to attend mainly most of the time.
No, I like to run.
It always makes me laugh when Dan puts an event up and me and Liam go, you sure you want to do that? That's going to make some awful horrendous lists. And he's like, I'm not playing.
Yeah. We all know my philosophy about this, about the whole comps thing. I'm not one for, I don't know, let's say Liam turns up with 5 balloons, right? And we all know he's good at the game. He's clearly got an impressive list, but he's bought 5 balloons. He's sat and painted them. Who am I to tell him not to be able to use them? Do you know what I mean? That's just my philosophy. You know, it might be a bad game for other people, but I know Liam personally, and he'll play the game. You know, as a
You also know I'm too tight to actually buy 5 balloons.
Yeah, which is but yeah, I mean that's just my thing, you know, and I'm not going to force people to. I do agree with some comp, but I believe that the Grand Melee and the Combined Arms does that for you already. There's just some armies that are better than others at the minute. That's just how it is. Until, you know, FAQs or whatever else come in. That's, you know, that is what it is for me. I try not to comp too much because we all know people don't read the rules pack for a start. Do you know what I mean? So you're already kind of on a back foot there because people don't read it. The amount of people at the last event that asked me what mission it was, even though it was on the screen on the thing, I was like, "Have you read the rules pack?" Like, oh no. You could be completely missing something completely different in the rules pack that I put in there, and you're playing a different game. Do you know what I mean? So, you know,
I think that's the difference with, you know, at least sort of with Liam's event, everyone knows they have to read the rules pack because it's a different game that they're playing.
And that's
whereas
the thing.
Going to your events and it's just like, oh, it's just another competitive event, then they'll just assume it's.
Well, it's just a bit more. What's the word? It's a bit more open for people because the rules are the rules what they've got in the books. They don't then have to go to another. Like, nothing against Liam's thing. They wouldn't then have to go to Liam's and read it all just to play a normal game of Warhammer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, which is why I kind of just like to keep it, and then everyone's on an equal playing field then as well, aren't they? You know, in terms of rules and comp and stuff like that.
Well, you say that, but then I think at the Throne of Skulls doubles event a couple of weeks ago, like I think 2 out of our 5 opponents hadn't seen even the last 2 FAQs. They were still playing off the rule book themselves because they were sort of relatively new and they didn't realize it was FAQs. So like,
but that can't be helped, can it?
It's one of those things. How do we keep like new people up to speed with these things? Like when there's just a rule book, you go and you go, oh, this is the rule book. Like, I don't know. What's the best way to keep people? I guess
all these Stuart's 1.5 redo book is what we want.
Yeah, it is.
But then do you want to be dropping 50 quid every 2 years on a new rule book that's 99% the same?
I use it every month, multiple times. £1 a month to keep my game up to date. Look at it like that. I'm okay with that. Or £2 a month, whatever.
And you only need to buy it once, so it's not like you're buying armies and armies, is it? I think that's the thing, you know.
I think people would be happy to buy it. I mean, I love the game, and I got a lot of time for the people who write it. I'm friends with people that work at Games Workshop as well, but that book is not written in a way that's friendly to read to learn about the rules. You know, there's too much. 50 pages apart to find out something that's clearly related. So it could do with a rewrite in that sense as well. I think people would be. I think once it gets past 2 years, which it clearly will, and what I mean is, I suppose in 3 years, after 3 years, or we maybe would have hopefully not a new edition. If it was a 1.5, I think that would be really, really welcome way of doing it, because the game probably doesn't need a whole new edition at the moment, and I don't think those arcane journals, as we've seen already, because Nolan and Seaguard lists were terrible a few months ago, and they're pretty good again now, aren't they? So it just shows you terrible. Not to kind of get over carried away. Oh no, I'm pretty sure that with the new changes to inventory rules, you could write something competitive there. I think people get very. It's a different subject, but people get very caught up in what's competitive, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And you see an odd change here or there, and the whole landscape changes, and it will do again. And this was the case back in 7th and 8th edition. And the way people are running events now is very similar to what it was back then. Some's comp, some isn't, and that's fine, because the variety is what you want. The fact that you're running straight out of the book events, Dan, is good, because you're doing that and someone else isn't, and people can make their choice of what kind of Warhammer they want to play. And as a community, we just need to realize that it's a game that's written as a game first, not as a competitive game. It's a game that can be played competitively. and because of that, you have to deal with those things at the table, which might mean explaining to someone who's new that doesn't know FAQs exists. Well, they do next time. You're just going to have to deal with that in a friendly way at that point, because it's that kind of game. This isn't esports. It's a hobby game. That's a really complicated game, and you've got to go to a table with someone you don't know, and expect sometimes to come across some problems that you didn't realise, and work through it with them to have a good game. And maybe, again, you don't want to limit people taking 5 lanterns, but at some point those people will stop bringing 5 lanterns as well, because people stop wanting to play them, don't you?
I guess one way they could do the sort of tidied up rule books is just it could the lore sections in there could give you, like, they could replace that with a newer set of the next set of lore, or just to just make it feel like you're not buying pretty much the same book. Or just small things like that.
The hope is that even if they were to do a second edition at some point in the next 18-24 months, that the way Games Workshop seem to do things now is every other edition is a big redo, whereas every other one kind of is a improvement to a previous one. So Heresy 1 to 2 was a very similar game, just tidied up. Heresy 3 is a big change. And same with 40k, where every other edition is an edition clean slate. The ones in between are the tidies up, improvements, minor tweaks here and there. And if they do one, then I hope it's only that, as opposed to a full edition rebalance kind of thing.
Do you not think that is what this 1.5 FAQ basically is?
Maybe it's testing the waters for some of that. Like, it's not like, I think we could all say yes, it's made the game better. I don't think anyone did argue that.
It's very much changed the game, isn't it?
There's still bits where I think you could probably touch it up there a little bit more, or there a little bit more, and without making wholesale changes. So it's just a case of which bits of that they see aligned with what the community as a whole does, or they think, you know what, we just need to do this and do that, and good with it. And I guess the other, I mentioned it when you were kind of preempted you a little bit ago, is other kind of elephant in the room is legacy armies. And like, Games Workshop have been incredibly clear from way before the game was released that these are like legacy, they're getting a one and done. And I guess with the 1.5 changes, that's kind of shown that again. Those PDFs didn't get touched. Like, I still would rather have a game with Skaven and vampires in it, like two of my favourite factions. And I'd like to see them explore ways to bring some of those bits back. I'm not saying it needs to be a full vampire count army. Like, for whatever reason they've chosen not to. But give us, I don't know, I said before, with like conversion opportunities where you could do like a Sylvanian themed empire army that has some vampire elements in it.
Because obviously there's the necromancy lore of magic as well, right? So
necromancers are a thing in the old world.
Yeah, so it feels like there's definitely potential there for something. A necromancy-led empire, arcane journal list.
You're right, Jake.
It's my bad.
But like, as an example, you could literally have an arcane journal list of the empire with 2 to 3 new character choices and 2 new unit choices, and it's actually just 50% or 40% vampires, and they're in a circle, and the rest of it is just the peasants that are answering the call to the banners. They don't know any better. They just realise that their electric count never comes and greets them in the day. He's always there at dusk, waving from his carriage. Like, I just love the idea of that.
It would be really cool. Yeah. And it'll give you something new as well. So even if they did eventually bring back full vampires, it adds another way of playing it. Because it definitely all exists in the lore. They're not hiding from that. I mean, in the first paragraphs of the rule book is mentioning Dark Elves, and I mean, I've said it on my channel a few times. I'm still convinced that at the point when they were writing that, that they were going to be part of. I think that they were supposed to be part of it, and it was something happened later in development. But I think some more will come back, but whether they come back in the full in the full guise, I don't know.
Yeah.
And who knows whether it's politics or other reasons behind the scenes. There's rumours, isn't there, about a massive ogre update for or ogre or whatever they're called for
Yeah.
AOS, and that's going to release another whole range almost. We've got Skaven sitting and collecting dust now. You've got loads of
Most
old
of-
vampire counts.
yeah.
Most of the Dark Elf range is just waiting on Daughters of Cain. So much of it could come back. It almost enough to fill a third Armies book. Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
But we just
In
have to
betweens.
keep hoping.
Yeah, I mean,
Keep hoping.
going into what I'd like to see for the future, because we completely skipped over that huge set of.
No one cares about your opinion.
It was pure selfish anyway. So I know that the Sea Lord Aisling is coming to Total War. I would love to see him in Warhammer Old World. Because obviously we know he sent Vest to go and do his dirty work, shoot down some Norscan raiders and stuff. So I'd love to see him as a character, and again, maybe in the High Elf Arcane Journal if there is another future one. That'd be. I'd love to see that.
I think that'd be really cool if they tied in. Obviously they used the cafe, Total War.
They kind of don't trust each other, do they? They don't trust each other at all. So yeah, again, I was literally going to say something along those lines. Is where that also then ties into cafe because they don't trust the High Elves, and it's kind of a love triangle, isn't it? Like the Empire in the middle of it all, because they're all kind of trading with Marienburg and helping the Empire out, but they don't really
control them
that much. But then obviously there's the big bad Wolves of the Sea armies that are coming and raiding everything. But again, I'd also agree with Liam. I'd love to see an actual Norsca. Just their pure arcane journal, when you've got like the
trolls,
the ice trolls, the ice chariots, the wolf chariots and stuff like that would be amazing. And then I think
mammoth.
War mammoth. What base side would a war mammoth go on, and what would he use?
100 by 150. 100 by 150.
Yeah.
It'll be on the Tomb Dragon one, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing as well.
It's those three factions, isn't it, in the book that weren't part of the original release that have got their own pages. You've got the cafe, which we now know is an army. You've got Kislev, and you've got Norsca getting their smaller section. So I'd like to think that that's where they're going to move towards.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, I've been harping on about it since episode 1. I would love to see Vampire Coast because it's completely new. Like they've never done it, have they? Not as an army, should I say? I would love to see Vampire Coast, which again could tie into like what Liam said and you guys said about the necromancer being in the old world, and there are vampires about. So obviously that's how it all starts. The vampire pirates and stuff. And I think as well, the models would be amazing. Like is it the big Colossus, the ship cannon fire thing, robot, whatever that is? That's amazing. As long as it doesn't get built like the Sentinel, it'll be fine. But that'll be amazing. I'd love to see that, but I think my biggest push at the minute, because obviously they're due to be in bed with Creative Assembly, aren't they? Quite a lot. I would like to see Aisling and almost a C rating, an upgrade on what we've got from the Arcane Journal and the Sea Guard.
Do you think we'd ever see some sort of like actual collaboration between a Total War DLC release and a special Arcane Journal that's super top secret and then gets dropped alongside that, or alternatively the other way around, or something like that?
Kind of thing in my head makes perfect sense, right? But then I played a bit of MCP as well, and like there's no Fantastic Four in Marvel Crisis Protocol. There was a $250 million budget movie out 2 months ago. Like, why would you not pick that point to release the models? To its 4 to 6 models, but Disney don't. Like, we do everything for a reason, and there must be a reason why they've chosen not to allow Atomic Mass Games to do simultaneous releases. And I get the feeling that potentially Games Workshop must have a similar kind of reasoning why they don't want the perfect tie-ins at the same time. But I
imagine they want to keep it separate, so it doesn't look like so they got control, isn't it? Because they are different timelines.
Yeah.
And that way, if there's anything that that's in the computer
It's a
game that they
retcon, they can
don't
retcon it.
like as much. It doesn't get associated with the old world game. So again, it's about separating
Yeah.
that a little bit as well. But that's just an assumption.
Mm.
So we all
Who
want
knows?
things that we're not going to get. It's the conclusion of
I
that.
think a lot of those things are possibles, aren't they? I mean, the Vampire Coast is a really smart way of bringing back a tighter, smaller list for an army of infamy without the need for all of the old vampire counts models to return. A couple of characters, maybe a new unit, and then lots of the old plastic zombies and skeletons, and you're away. And the stuff that is a little bit kind of, is it too close to what's in AOS now? So keeping those IP separate, well, they're not available. They don't like boats and small islands or something. you just keep it out of the game if you want to, don't you? So there are ways to do it. There's definitely paths to do it. And the same with you said about the high elf stuff. There's definitely more of a story to be told there. We've got that growing narrative at the moment with Cathay sort of disdain with the high elves not looking after the humans as the way they're supposed to. Well, there's room to develop that there as well, isn't there? And then who knows, when we get closer to, rather than the Great War, maybe we'll get to the stage where it's the kind of the build up towards it even more, and that's when you do start to see things like maybe Skaven returning, some of the other factions, like the rise of some of these other factions coming back because the world moves towards a big event.
Because who's the ever chosen at this point, or
Asavar Kull?
Oh yes, so we've just seen his sort of his lieutenants at the moment, right?
Yeah, one of them. Like it's not even. It's like 2 runs down the ladder, isn't it? So like Friedel answers to someone who answers to Asavar. So it's like we're well down the totem pole still.
Yeah, they're creating a setting at the moment for us to go and play those big battles that you were calling for, Jack. Really, they're saying I want to see those, but they're actually stopped. So each of those narrative scenarios, there's a chapter beforehand that kind of leads you towards it, takes you to the brink of it, but it doesn't really tell you what happens. Whereas, excluding end times, which was something different, the fantasy before, we knew about those big battles. They were all in that timeline, and then we're in that sort of that period just afterwards, before the end times. But now it feels like we're in a different place. They're building that setting again to the point. So we've got to make those up ourselves at the moment.
I think
we need novels, though, don't we? We need novels, because that's where that's where some of those stories are told. Is in the novels, and that's where the characters become more than a profile on a page as well, because that's where when we talk about tech lists, we talk about all these big characters, because for edition after edition, they were in stories, they were on timelines. We haven't got that yet, but there's nothing to say that Friedel might not be that in 10 years' time. When we're looking back at the game, she could have become this huge character, and that might be the same with some of the others that have been developed for Old World. Maybe Gaston will become this amazing hero.
I've still got a grudge against Cetra for killing Kolek in the end times. So
I think you've covered it actually, Stu, on one of your previous episodes about the novels. I'd love to see more Warhammer Fantasy, Old World novels, because, like you say, it does keep the timeline ticking on, and like you say, who's doing what. Not necessarily just the characters, just the factions as a whole. What are they doing? Because at the minute, all we are doing is just fighting battles against each other, on the tabletop, where we've only got the narrative at the minute of obviously Cathay helping Marienburg and the Empire and stuff like that. But what about all the others? What are they doing? Like, what are Bretonnia doing? What are the Wood Elves doing? Beastmen, the actual chaos, those of chaos. What are they all doing? I'd love to see more novels, definitely. And like Jack said earlier as well, not campaign book as such, but the books that almost accompany the arcane journals, like the end times ones did. Because you got 2 books, didn't you? You got the rules, and then you got the fluff. Something like that would be amazing. Just so to keep teasing you a bit, so it keeps you dragging. Oh, this, and then because they always ghost drop something in one of the texts somewhere, don't they? Or they'll name drop somebody, and you're like, oh, is it such and such? But it just keeps you that, clinging on to something, doesn't it? And they're amazing at that, GW. They've got it down to a T, I think, especially for people who are really into the game. They'll pick up on these things and think, oh, actually, there is somebody coming in potentially, down the line, and then really somebody else. but that's how they work.
Yeah, I think that's what we all want as well, to be
Yeah.
very much a narrative game rather than just a competitive game where you have army lists that go up and bang it into. So like, we all very much obviously are very interested in what's going on in between, what's going in and around, what's, why does X hate Y, why does, exactly what's going on. So yeah, it would be nice to see a few more novels being teased or dropped at some point soon. It's been a long time since a good set of novels.
I think there's only.
I got the impression they were caught off guard, though. Novels take a long time to write. They'd obviously gambled on the one as part of the launch, and they clearly didn't expect it to take off. Otherwise, there would have been another one. You'd imagine. I really thought there'd be one with Cafe. When there wasn't,
because they just re-released a set, didn't they? Like a few weeks ago, which is just
I've got it behind me actually. The Sigmar Legend of Sigmar, they've just rebranded. I'm not a big fan of them rebranding it. I wish they kept the same logo color, but didn't call it Old World. Still kept it as Legends, because it's not an Old World story. And the amount of people in the Facebook groups going, "Oh, is this a new novel?" No, you shouldn't have to explain that, but it's a minor thing. But Nagash is coming back as well. I think that's just November or December. Nagash trilogy.
Oh, nice.
But again, it's not new, is it? So hopefully,
it's 250 years in the future.
Yeah, but like, that's the thing. Like these old novels, though, you go and try and find them on eBay or Amazon, and they're like £500-600 or something ridiculous for some of them.
The last time I went to Warhammer World, I actually did pick up this. I think it's good. Before Riders of the Dead, which has obviously been rebooked up. I've not actually started reading it yet, but that's kind of where it is in the timeline right now, because it's on about fighting the northern tribes and stuff like that, and Norsca and stuff. The Empire guys, I believe. I've not read it yet. But
they do that a lot throughout all of the eras. But yes, if you could easily place that in the current timeline, and it would be the same. It would be the same.
So, yeah, it'd be nice to just get a re-release of these sets, which save you having to pay scalpers ridiculous prices, as we've seen with the models. Getting those back and having to pay scalpers prices, it'd be nice to have something similar with with these books. I'm sure there's all sorts of rights and stuff which stop here, but it'd be nice to start seeing a few of them phasing their way in to update my old tattered copies.
I've got all the Tyrion and Teclis novels as well. Well, the 3 that they brought out, the hardback ones, I've got those, and I also bought the Malus Darkblade ones a while ago. I've got a few of those. So, but actually, this talk narrative is perfectly leading us on into
this event we keep mentioning.
This event we keep mentioning that we keep saying we're going to get to, we don't get to. So here we are, Rise to Glory. Liam, take us away, sir.
So I think the last kind of few months of gaming have told me that I do want to play more laid back Warhammer. Like, I think the I do like the how to put it. It's not about sometimes who's the better player at that top end. It's about who's yes, in a better way of saying it. It's about who's prepared to take something that they wouldn't take if you were playing to make friends. And the game, as much as we might try to amend or whatever, composition or changes, whatever, it's never going to be a perfectly balanced game. So we shouldn't try and push it in that direction. I'm still going to go to some competitive events, but I think I know I can do well if I want to. I want to try something different. And this is my go at something different. So it's a 2-day Old World campaign set in the Empire region of the Old World, the one we all know and love. It's can be held at Boards and Swords in Derby, which is my local gaming store. I'm there most weeks, so it seems like a good place to do it. It is an escalation.
As well.
Yeah, it's nice. It's an escalation campaign, so you'll play 2 games at 750 points, 2 games at 1500, where the second one of those is actually a doubles game. You'll get paired up with somebody, and then on the second day it is 2,400 points. So a big sweep, and it's kind of showing how your army progresses over time. I'm not going to go through the entire pack because that's going to bore people. It's available to read. If you want it, Dan will put a link in the comments, show notes, so go and find it. You will remember. Basically, some compositional changes just to stop people taking crazy stuff from the off. Timetable, what you expect. Some important bits of them. You effectively have a character that represents you on the battlefield, and this character is going to progress over the weekend. So it will start off as roughly the lower level character. Like if I was going to take my Wolves of the Sea, for example, it would be a Marauder Tribe Chieftain. And then as we get into the 1500 points, they're going to be the same again, but this time they might be on a demonic mount. And then come the last bigger points, they might have at this point found a Manticore or a dragon to ride for those last games. And it's just kind of, I've got a table I'm working for at the moment where if you win, you get a stat increase. If you lose, you get a better stat increase or a choice of stat increases. So yeah, you win, but you don't gain as much as if you lost. So it's kind of helping the people who haven't done so well. And then the other bit is kind of like, I don't want people not to take choices because they can't do the big stuff. So I've got a line at the bottom there where, like, if you want to take a Night Goblin Big Boss as your first starting character, and he upgrades to a Squig Hopper mount, Giant Cave Squig, to the 1500 points. Like, if you want to model it, then we'll put him on a Mangler Squig and make up a stat line for the last day. Like, enjoy it, embrace it a little bit. The game's kind of a guidelines. We don't have to religiously stick to them all the time. But
Can I take
so
that?
no, that is definitely one of the guidelines we are following. But I said, if you want to take a support hero rather than a fighting one or a magic one, then I've got no problem. If you don't want to take a mount, like pulling rules from somewhere, so you get to build that character you want to anyway. Like, no one's going to moan that you see God get an extra AP when you're not taking a dragon. Like, that's a more than fair trade.
I don't even get that choice either.
You know what I mean. But there are going to be 3 teams: a Order, Destruction, and Chaos. And effectively, you're going to get paired up into one of those other 2 factions. So I've currently sold more Order tickets than anyone else. I presume that's so people don't want to have to play Cafe, because if you're with them, they can't fight you. But I want players to pick a leader for their allegiance over the weekend. And that, I said, like, it could be a before game 1 or after game 1, the Chaos players still haven't decided. We'll have a battle royal between all the generals on foot to see who is actually going to be the commander. But that commander maybe doesn't do so well and makes some bad choices. You might decide to overthrow that commander. Like, I've been to heresy events where
I've recommended headbutting contests
for the destruction commanders, because you're all playing orcs. I've been to heresy events where we've full narrative and we've changed chaos commanders after every round based on who won by the most victory points. And the Order players or the loyalists have just kept the same commander because we trust the process and it will be how we do it. But basically, after each game, each team will be awarded a number of gems based from killing the opponents or by winning games. And then there's a market phase between, and where is that one on here? This here. There's a market phase in between each round where I'm going to paint up a bunch of Dogs of War style units, mercenary units over the next few months. And we'll also have a bunch of magic items. And I'm going to make 2 decks of cards, and they're going to be laid out a certain number between each round. And then the faction commanders can use the gems they've earned in games to purchase the units in some kind of bidding system. Stolen from, you ever played Spartacus board game? It's
Okay.
got like a bidding system where you get gold and you put your hand in with a number of gold you're prepared to bid,
Okay.
and then you all show at the same time. And but the catch here is that the gems that are bid go to the other two teams. So you but the winning team isn't the one who's won the most games, it's the one who's got the most gems at the end. So you might decide to not buy as many mercenary units because you want to keep your gems and get them from your opponents to win the event rather than win the games more. But I'm going to have 3 jars full of beads that people can put in.
Gryffindor, House Gryffindor.
Yeah, if you can see and who's winning and who's not, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I've got a pairing process in there. How you get the gems. There's a campaign map where they're worth gems at the end, but there'll be certain.
Is this the map that you've got a big massive copy of
yes.
on the wall?
Yes, it is that map. The campaign's kind of fizzled out, so I'm going to use the map I spent money on one way or another. And there'll be wizards towers or additional mercenary camps in there where when your faction controls it, you get those added in. And I just kind of want to see the chaos player, general leader, just have 17 units of mercenaries in his army while his entire entourage, everyone else gets nothing. But yeah, it's just something a little bit different. Intentions to have fun, obviously, with any event, but it isn't a tournament. And I've been very clear to everyone it's not a tournament, it's a campaign weekend. I'm not saying it's full narrative because I'm not the greatest storyteller in the world, but I think I'm okay at designing mechanics that will work to allow people to embrace the spirit of the weekend. And then
Can you make me a stat line for my Toad Dragon, please, Liam?
Maybe. But yeah, I've just put some sample army lists in there as well to kind of show a kind of power level I'm hoping people will aim for. I've used Cafe as example, but one lantern at 2,400 points is the last thing there. We've got mercenaries in, so I've got more Empire troops, so I'm not taking more limited Cafe options, that kind of thing. So just trying to shake it up a little bit.
So are you open to sort of journalists?
Yeah,
from the start.
knock yourselves out. Yeah, if you want to take a nomadic war and you've somehow got 2,400 plus your character's model worth of nomadic war or trolls or whatever.
Liam, I've got everything. You know this.
Yeah.
Liam was asking me the other day what faction I want to go. I was like, oh, I don't know, and he's like, well, you've got to start. You've got to commit and paint up some characters. I was like, I'll just do them for every army. It's fine. I don't need to. I'll worry about it down the line. I'll just do that for every army. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say on the topic of mounts and upgrading, because I probably am going to use the Seagull Garrison. Can I have a ship as a mount?
You can have a merworm as a mount.
Yeah.
I want a ship. I actually want a sailing ship.
You can have a land
drive by everybody.
Marion Diag land ship.
Has it got wheels?
That was its old.
Yeah.
That was the old 6th edition rule, wasn't it?
Swan ship. Obviously, it's gonna say, I'm not even gonna enter the land. I'll just patrol the sea. That's what I'll do.
I'm not trying to change loads of rules and invent loads of new stuff. It's not what I want to do, but I want to be able to make amendments enough that people can have fun with it. Yeah. So if people are interested and do want to come and have questions, then contact details are all in the pack on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, whatever. Leave comments in the video. I'm about 10, 12 tickets sold so far out of the 24. So I'm a little over a third, pushing towards half. And yeah, plenty of notice. So hopefully we'll see a few familiar faces and have a good time. Yeah.
Is the ticket price on the rules pack? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's £45.
Yeah.
And that includes pizza on both days for food.
Woo-hoo.
Because Bash is great, but it's in the middle of an industrial estate. So yeah, you're not walking to get food from the high street.
Stu, I think this is right up your street, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I've made a note of it already. It's it's finding out where that fits within Easter holidays. It's the weekend after Easter, isn't it?
It's 2 weekends after Easter.
2 weekends after Easter. I have to see
Easter's
how
the
that
first weekend of
how that
April.
fits. Right, yeah. So I'll see how that clashes or doesn't clash with the school holidays and what my wife's working. But yeah, it's right up my street if I can get the weekend pass. And I like Bulls and Swords. I've been up there for a couple of events before. It's good little venue.
I think what it does
Yeah.
encourage is the whole the hobby side of it as well as the games. 'Cause obviously, you want to you create the narrative, aren't you, with yourself in miniature form essentially. What do you want to like? With obviously we're jesting about the ship and stuff, but my path would probably be starting as a sea helm on foot, then going to a chariot, and then a griffin maybe. I think we can take griffins.
Yep.
That would be my path, and obviously, I don't know, your orcs, like Jack was saying, you start as a little goblin, you get on a wolf, you get on a squick hop, and then you're on a spider. So, I think the possibilities are actually endless for that as well. And on that, Liam, actually, just thinking about it, you're saying about all the upgrades and stuff like that, because obviously your character, all of his upgrades are free, essentially. If you're buying the magic items, you use the gems, but what about weapon
obviously
gear?
someone
so-
an 8-point chariot as opposed
like
to
that.
a 300-point
Are you paying-
dragon.
It's what it
That's
is.
it.
So
Was it-
it's your army plus the character,
Okay.
and each character you get 50 points worth of magic items. You had one magic item of up to 50 points at the start of the campaign, and that represents your
Family heirloom. whatever.
family heirloom effectively. Or
Yeah.
the last orc that you beat, you stole his hammer or his axe, and then
It's chopper.
there'll be enough items between camps on the map and the market phase between the rounds where you can, if you want to grab a ward save, then talk to your faction commander and say, I really, really want a ward save. If one comes up this round, can we try and get me one, please? I will more than happily pay for it in gems earned in the future games. And then if you don't hold up the bargain, your faction commander might decide to actually give that ward save to someone else who deserves it more for the following game. I've tried to leave enough time between the rounds for the commanders to have some fun with their teams.
I think that element is what draws me to it as well. It's just it's almost role playing, isn't it?
It's not a million miles off.
Way. Yeah, it's very role playing in terms, like you say, it's a bit of D&D mixed in there because the way you are doing the market phase and stuff like that, and
if Jack's not in full cosplay, I'm going to be disappointed.
Could you imagine me with long blonde hair and no beard? The wife won't be happy, but I'll go for it.
I want to see you with a ginger mohawk.
I think you look cool.
But yeah, now I'm excited for this. As I was saying as well, Tom's running one at Bash as well, a couple of months before this, which is the Reclamation of Kazid Vosk. So similar to Liam, well, very opposite to Liam. I think he'd been to a few competitive events and been tabled 5 games, so decided actually what type of Warhammer do I want to play, and has come up with this sort of very much narrative based orcs vs dwarves, all about grudges. So as part of your sort of list of mission, you have to give like a page of lore on your army, some examples of grudges that, if you're greenskins, what have you done to upset the dwarves, and to get some sort of grudges in the book, and the event's all about them sort of trying to strike these grudges. And then I think there's like on the second day there's a big massive sort of teams battle trying to take a dwarven fort, or I guess the dwarves trying to take back the dwarven fort from the orcs and goblins. So sounds like a really good be a really good fun event. So yeah, me and Liam have both got tickets, and Rob's got a ticket. So I think there's a few more dwarf players currently signed up than orcs, because Dowie After Dark Richie's put a shout to arms out to his comrades to come along. So so we need a few more greenskins to come and sort of balance on the sides. So
the dwarves are probably a lot less in terms of numbers and models to paint than the greenskins are as well.
Yes, but even if you've not got a green skin army, just put some green paint on whatever you've got and pretend the orcs and goblins will be fine. No one will know the difference. So yeah, it's very much just again another narrative based sort of event where we're not there to just steamroll our opponents.
Yeah.
It's all about telling the story and making some fun memories.
I think Forgotten North of looking at doing one again at Boards and Swords in July. So it's clearly the narrative home.
Andy's looking to run one.
I think this is great, me personally. I mean, I don't know, Stu, if you agree as well. I know obviously you don't get to many events and stuff, but the fact that now narrative events are coming to the fore is, I think personally, it's amazing.
It feels like we're hitting that point now where the game is, well, as we said when we talked about our hopes, we're into that second stage of books, and with that, people start to feel the game's a bit more settled now and start to do stuff like this. So I'm not surprised to see it. I'm glad we are starting to see it. And this one looks great. I didn't know about this one actually, but probably too short notice for me, but I would like to try and get to something like this next year. So I will be speaking to the wife this week and see if we can work out what's going on at Easter and whether we're going away and what she might be working, because I'll try and get up to Liam's if I can, because that'll be perfect. But I would like to see more of these. There's always a call for it. I used to run narrative heresy events with a friend called Tom, and we used to do a heresy podcast many years ago. We used to do it in a place called Incon Gaming in Cheltenham, and it was brilliant, really. So there's always a call for it. There's always gamers that like that kind of thing, and I'm sure they're out there for Old World as well.
It's great. I might even try and run one myself, but I'll just get Liam to write it all for me. All right,
Liam's just got ChatGPT to write it for him, so it'll be fine.
I've got my own lore in that pack as well and everything.
You wrote your own lore for Throne of Skulls as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did indeed.
You had the side thing, didn't you? I thought you did. Yeah. Did anyone actually read it?
Well, at least one person.
Was it Jack or me? I mean, we were the only ones that, like we said, we were the only ones that took the Throne of Skulls into Spirit. But no, I go in and out of phases of being. I should sound awful now, but being not interested, because that's the wrong word, but in and out of phases of. When you really get your teeth into something and really want to do something, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm too busy. I don't want to paint or whatever else. Well, I lose my mojo quite quickly, but then I also gain it when stuff like this comes out. So I mean, obviously I've known about this event for a while, but it has got me thinking about doing other types of events, like a bit like a narrative one, but a bit more. What's the word? A bit more toned down type things. Obviously, like Jack, you said earlier about mine are mainly, they are quite competitive events. But a campaign day, it's a lot of work. But I guess that's what you.
And that's another thing. You can split them out and have one every 6 months or one every 12 months, and it's just it only needs to be slightly narrative and just have a general overarching theme and a small storyline to work along, and it just gives I think Box of Frogs have done it quite successfully in the past. They've had these sort of like triple phase events where there's been an overarching story and it's progress depending on whether the good guys have won or the bad guys have won, and it makes them a bit more engaging sometimes. And just going yes, 20 TPs, 20 TPs, 20 TPs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jack. Have you ever thought about running your own events through the channel or anything, Stu? Or
as I say, I used to run them with my friend Tom, and he used to do most of it, to be honest with you. But we did it through our podcast back then, and then when I had the Middle Earth podcast, we'd set up one that was killed off by COVID. It had to be postponed because it was right in the middle, and this was a big one that we put a lot of time in. I built a lot of boards and all kinds of stuff, and I'm not put off by that as such, but I haven't quite got the motivation back. So it has crossed my mind. because of the kind of stuff I cover on the channel, there might be interest because of it. And then I'm still not far from Incon Gaming, and I know Chip there would be very happy if I wanted to book the place out. And it's big enough as well to get a decent size. I think we had 65 players for the doubles event we run for Heresy there, so we decent enough size. So yeah, it's not out of the question. It's just time at the moment, to be honest with you. Because if I did it, I want to do it really, really well, and I want to make sure the terrain was great. So and it's just balancing that with the channel stuff at the moment and family life and stuff. But it's percolating. I might do.
It's something we've talked about as a podcast, haven't we, Liam and Jack? That I've potentially got a venue in Sheffield, but it's again logistics and talking around and stuff like that. But we'd like to run something similar to Liam's, if not but bigger. I think we want to kind of leave his mark on it as a podcast / minor YouTube channel.
This is definitely like a proof of concept. I can get to and if it works, it can then be scaled up quite easily in my head. So
that's how these things grow, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's how these things grow. And you look at I never went to any of them, but the Warhammer Achievements events that were around at the end of
that's what I'm talking to these two about, exactly that. I've spoken to Steve. I've got the full rules packs for the last all 8 of them, and trying to work through what I would like to do as opposed to I went for a campaign weekend this time, but it was very nearly a pure achievement event instead.
Yeah, like Warhammer.
This room there, and I think you start small and grow, and it could build itself. And and even the most competitive players, metaphorically enjoy letting their hair down and having that kind of weekend as well. And you could if you get there first almost and do well with it, there's nothing to say that it couldn't sort of find its way on the calendar as a big thing. Because that's something that probably hasn't happened yet with Old Worlders. There's some big events, but there used to be the annual. Oh, everyone's going to this. It's almost like a major where it's a golf or tennis, and it doesn't feel like that's happened yet for Old World.
I think we're just starting to
many events as well. Like there's so many good big events going on that they're all competing to be a great event. So I think it's good. It's almost good for the community that's not happened, because it just shows the breadth and sort of you can just throw a stone out the window and you're probably going to hit an event. These days.
That means we're going to be the first. We're going to be the winners.
I'm just conscious that we are about to run out of time. So,
Jack, do you want to do your thingy?
Yeah. So, a bit different this week. We're going to say go like, subscribe, and follow Stuart if you don't already. I'm sure you probably do.
Well, you should do.
You should go do it. Take a look at his hobby, and similarly, hopefully, if you're watching this, you already are for us, but it'll help the channel continue to grow and get the message out there. Again, please drop some comments below on things you might want to see in the future, what you might want us to discuss. There's been a few already, so we're looking forward to that. A bit of a shout out for going forward for our hobby section. If we have any listeners who want to send us some of what they've been working on, we'll be happy to sort of show that on the channel and sort of have a look at those. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Stuart for coming on and talking to us, and we will hopefully get him on again at some point down the future once the story has progressed a bit.
I was just about to say, I hope you've had fun, Stuart, with us, because we do
loads.
We can look back and see how our predictions have gone and what we've hoped for, as we're running around with halflings on the back of cows and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll all be very happy.
Just want to say a massive thank you, Stuart, for coming on and spending some time with us. It's been great.
Pleasure.
We have loved having you on, and we will hopefully see you again.
Thank you.
So, thank you, everyone. Liam, Jack, Stuart, goodbye. Take care.
Very, very weakest link there.
Could be the weakest link.